All right, what is going on, Patriots fans? This is Jace back with another Mock Draft Monday here on the Patriots Drive podcast. Guys, today I got a big trade for the Patriots to acquire a playmaker. You guys will see that one soon. And then drafting a future quarterback. So again, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Thank you to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. With Underdog, you have a chance to 20 times your money in a single night. You just have to choose higher or lower for whatever player stats you want, and you have a chance to win big. Pick anywhere from 2 to 5 players by downloading their app or going to UnderdogFantasy.com. And now with their pick'em insurance, you don't even have to hit on all your picks to win the money. So what are you waiting for? Make sure you use code PATCHDRIVE today for your first deposit matched up to $100. Okay, so before I get into this, guys, I just want to say none of these opinions or these scenarios I'm throwing out here are insider information. I've been getting a lot of comments saying, you're not an insider. I'm not an insider. I'm not hired by anyone. These are my own personal opinions and what I think they will do and what makes sense to me and how I would do it. And how I think the Patriots will do it. I will say this is how I think sometimes the Patriots could look at doing it. It's not going to be exact, but, there's definitely some things that I take into consideration and, some things that I think we need to all think about, even though it might not be our favorite thing for the Patriots to do. So today, I'm going to be making a trade. Now, you can see at the bottom, it says forced trade. Now, I'll tell you guys about the trade once I pull it up. But this was been rumored to be a player that wants to get out. Maybe the team doesn't want to pay him, and he wants to go for a big payday. And, there's going to be some issues there. Who I have the Patriots trading for? Wide receiver Brenan Aiyuk. Okay, now I have the Patriots giving up their second round pick this year, a future second next year, and then a fourth rounder this year. Now, this stems because Bleacher Report did an article about 6 teams that could trade for Brenan Aiyuk, and they had like the Commanders, and they were doing pretty much the same thing. This year's second, a future second, and then Jahan Dotson. So I just threw in an extra 4th round pick there to kind of make it fair. For me, this is a player that I would be stoked to get. Okay, Brenan Aiyuk had 84 catches for 1,491 yards this year, 8 touchdowns. He was the second highest graded wide receiver on PFF. He had a 91.7. He led the league in yards per reception, 17.8 yards per catch, more than Tyreek Hill, more than other guys that, are really explosive. And this is a guy that a lot of people are like, oh, he's a little smaller, he's going to be inside. Well, no, this guy had 75% of his snaps on the outside. Now he does line up inside. He's got position versatility. He was a second-team All-Pro wide receiver. And what's the big thing here, and what I'll get into, and I'll just pull it up right now, is he played with Jayden Daniels his last year at Arizona State before Jayden Daniels transferred to LSU. So I have them being paired up here, right? You give up a second-round pick. You're able to draft Jayden Daniels at pick 3 and pair him with Brenan Aiyuk for giving up a second this year and a future second next year and then a 4th. Okay. They had 1,192 yards in 2019 when they were at Arizona State. That was Jayden's kind of best year at Arizona State there. And then he kind of regressed the next 2 before he made the huge jumps at LSU. But these guys were dynamic in college. Aiyuk's been one of the better receivers, and there's going to be arguments about, is Brenan Aiyuk a number 1 wide receiver? Well, he would immediately come into this Patriots offense and be a number 1 option. I think he'd be a dang good one. He can line up inside, outside. Now you have to scheme for him. It's kind of what the Niners have done with him and made him very effective. But if you can get him the ball in creative ways, he's very effective. He's a decent route runner. He's not a top 10 route runner, but he can get open, create separation. He's good at deep crossers. He's taken handoffs before. But, obviously they have Deebo Samuel. So that's the thing is, do the Patriots want to give up this much draft capital plus pay him probably 20+ million a year? I don't know. It would be exciting because I don't know if the Niners are going to want to do it, especially because they're going to have to pay Deebo Samuel. And then do they want to have him on there? Plus they have McCaffrey. I don't know if the Niners are wanting to do it. So that's why it would make sense for the Patriots to go out and trade for a guy like Brenan Aiyuk and pair him up with a former college teammate. Now, moving on to Jayden Daniels. I know I've talked about Jayden Daniels before. A lot of Patriots fans are kind of honed in on him at that 3rd overall pick. If he doesn't go to Washington, he's going to be an option for New England. Obviously, they're in the quarterback market. He's going to be a guy that has a ton of hype. Now, it just came out. He's not going to throw at the combine, but he will throw at his pro day, so we'll see how he does there. But he's 6'4", 210 pounds. Okay, now 210 pounds is not like the smallest, but he's just so rail thin and skinny. He needs to add a little bit more muscle mass. Okay, he had 3,800 yards and 40 touchdowns this year, 4 interceptions. We all know Heisman Trophy winner. He rushed for over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns there, so 50 total touchdowns for Jayden Daniels at LSU in 2023. He had the second highest passing grade in college football, which was 92.0. He had 8.4% of his throws were big-time throws, which was top 5. And then he had over 1,300 deep yards, which was 4th among quarterbacks. Plus, he's throwing to Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors. He probably had the best supporting cast. You talk about Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., who are probably both going to be first-round picks, if not both top 20, depending on where Brian Thomas Jr. goes. He had the best supporting cast in college football. Now, that doesn't say anything. The thing that worries me about him is he did struggle a little bit in his career at Arizona State. Now, yeah, he's shown great progression since he's been at LSU, and that's something you're going to hang your hat on. But his first couple years at Arizona State, he had a great freshman year where he had 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Then he had the COVID year in 2020. Obviously they didn't play that much. He only threw 84 total passes there. But then his last year before he transferred, he threw for 2,381 yards, 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So he's had his struggles. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be Arizona State Jayden Daniels. He could very well be LSU Jayden Daniels. And what you're getting out of him is an explosive runner, a guy that can extend the pocket, and a guy that has a great deep ball. He's a little inconsistent over the middle of the field, but you can work with that. You got to give him some targets and you got to protect him on the front. But this guy's going to be able to create and do a lot of things for this Patriots offense that most quarterbacks can't. He's electric like that. A lot of people want to say, oh, he's got Lamar Jackson in him. Straight line speed, yeah, he probably does. I don't know if he's as twitchy and as elusive as he is. He didn't force that many missed tackles in college football, but man, this guy can get going, and it's really fun to watch. So pairing Jayden Daniels up with Brandon Aiyuk now leads the Patriots to not having a second overall pick. So they move on to their third overall pick. I have them taking right tackle Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame. Now, if you're taking Brandon Aiyuk, you probably don't have enough money to sign Michael Onwenu. Right now, they still could. But I have the Patriots taking Blake Fisher. Now, this is a guy, he's 6'6", 310 pounds. He started over Joel Alt as a true freshman at the University of Notre Dame. And we all know the University of Notre Dame puts in some dang good offensive linemen. So I like Blake Fisher. I thought he was going to be a first or second round pick this year, but he really struggled this season. But the first 2 years at Notre Dame, he looked really good hands, bends very well. He has elite length. He just needs to have a little bit more strength onto his frame at 6'6", 310 pounds, a little bit more strength. And he needs to have a little bit better of an anchor. But this is a guy that came in, started over Joe Alt, was a dude, and has played over like 1,500 snaps at right tackle. So if you do lose Michael Onwenu, you're able to replace him at right tackle. And maybe if you do sign Michael Onwenu, you're able to take him and move him to the left tackle position and have him develop there. But I really like Blake Fisher. This is a guy that I think is climbing up draft boards. We'll see how he tests and stuff, but I'm a big fan of him. I think that he could play both sides, probably going to be a right tackle, but if you need to, you can have him be a right tackle. So that has me moving on to my next pick, and that's Javon Foster out of the University of Missouri. Now, this is a guy that was a Senior Bowl dude, okay? Confirmed 6'5.5", 310 pounds. He had 35-inch arms and over an 82-inch wingspan. So elite length, really, really good length for Javon Foster. I thought he did some really good things at the Senior Bowl. So this is the guy that I'm bringing in here. You're double dipping at tackle in the 3rd and the 5th. He's the left tackle, right? So now you don't even have to worry. You keep Blake Fisher at the right tackle and develop him. You keep Javon Foster at the left tackle. He's played over 2,700 snaps at left tackle in the last 3 seasons. He's only given up 7 sacks in those snaps, okay? He had a 80.9 pass blocking grade and an 86.5 run blocking grade in college football this year. The run blocking grade was tied for 2nd in college football. Really good run blocker. Good initial kick step. Like I mentioned, with that 82-inch wingspan, he has a really, really good length. And for me as a recruiter and watching guys, I look at what coaches can't teach, okay? Coaches can't teach length and they can't teach size. They can like develop him to have better footwork. Okay, they can develop him to have more strength. Okay, they can't take a guy that has a 32-inch arm and make him have 35-inch arms. You just can't do that. So a guy like Javon Foster that's measured like that and has had a ton of experience on a really good Missouri team, let me throw in there too. This year, one of the biggest surprises in college football and definitely the biggest surprise in the SEC, explosive offense. Really, really good there. He's very smart too. You see, he's very intelligent when it comes to twists and identifying what he needs to do there. Very good, like I mentioned, drive off the ball in the run game. That's why he has an 86.5 grade in the run. He gets off the line well, has really good knockback power, but he does have pretty good hands. This is another guy, like I said, good length. You gotta refine his footwork. Okay, he's got to know how to use that length. And that's not something that I'm worried about, right? If you get a good offensive line coach in New England, which I'm pretty sure they just hired, I'm like excited to see what he can do. I think that you can put it on him. You got to teach him how to play with that. And, I have faith that they can do that. So I really like the idea of him coming in as a late round tackle, maybe starting day one, maybe not, but he's had enough experience in college with over 2,700 snaps that he's not going to take very long to get up to speed. He's played a lot of football. You just got to find some of the retune some of those footwork things and technical issues, and then he could be a starting left tackle for a long time for the New England Patriots. Last pick, I have the Patriots taking an edge defender here. Now, I think at some point they're going to look to add edge because, they have Amfrey Jennings as a free agent. Same with Josh Uche. Who knows what they bring back? And you can never have enough pass rushers in my mind. Now, Brenan Jackson is a high motor player out of Washington State. Okay, he is 6'4" and 6'4" and 6'8", 266 pounds. He registered 9 sacks last season, so pretty effective pass rusher. But he has 24 and a half TFLs over his last 2 seasons. Okay, like I mentioned, high motor player, really, really good in the run game. Now, this is what we saw with Josh Uche. He was not good in the run game, and he had a hard time staying on the field for 3 downs, right? They only could bring him in blitz packages. So this is a guy who can align in different spots. He can line outside the tackle, inside the tackle, head up on tight ends. He's good in the run game. He's stout. He's probably going to make his money there in the NFL first. And then he's got to learn how to have a pass rush plan. It's not that he can't pass rush. He had 9 sacks last year. He's just got to have a better plan of attack. Okay. He's also kind of stiff in the lower body. That's why he's going to be, in my mind, a 6th-round pick right here, a day 3 guy. But he has production in college football. He's able to, have that production in the run game, which the Patriots want to have that at their edge rusher. They're not going to trust you early in your rookie season or at all if you can't stop the run. And I think they're going to want to be able to set an edge, stop those teams that want to run the wide zone action. And he's really good at setting the wall and getting off blocks and being able to get to the running back in the backfield. Okay. Like I mentioned, this is another guy that has to come up with a plan, and he probably needs to be taught or even pick. Like sometimes when you have a guy that doesn't look like he knows what he's doing in pass rush, it's because he doesn't have a go-to move. He needs to find and develop a go-to number 1 move that he wants to consistently use and consistently say, hey, I'm going to use this until you stop it, and then I'm going to counter it. And that's probably what he needs to be able to develop. He's good at stressing him laterally, but after that, he kind of, not very good hands to get off blocks and stuff like that. So a guy, you're taking a 6th-round flyer on him. You need pass rushers at some point. You're able to develop him, see what he does there. So I'm pretty sure this is mock draft 10 I just did. So appreciate all the support that everyone's had. And I love hearing all your guys' comments and stuff, even if it's disagreeing with me. I love hearing that. And obviously, as someone who's watching these players and, bringing you guys content, I'm going to be partial to some of these guys. And I don't mean to disrespect you in the comments when I come back. I just want to say, hey, this is what I see. This is my opinion. And not that yours is wrong, but this is what I value. So I really do appreciate everyone coming in. Like I said, I have no affiliation with any insider information. This is just my thoughts coming out and what I think would be beneficial. But again, appreciate everything, all the support here. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know down below what you think of the Brenan Aiyuk trade. I think he'd be a great addition. Let me know if this is too much to give up, if you don't think the Niners are willing to give him up, or maybe you don't want to pay him $20+ million plus the draft capital. But man, I think him and Jayden Daniels would be special. And then you just got to develop or sign some offensive linemen to help bolster that front seven on the offense. So again, appreciate all the support. Use code PATSDRIVE at Underdog Fantasy. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.